We have a constitutional responsibility to protect our people. That's the responsibility of any government. So that is why, to be very honest with you, I frankly don't like spending time commenting on some of these flippant and petty political things. Because a lot of people lie all the time. You know, some of them now lie like a career. You know, it's like that's what they went to school to be trained. You saw those lies yesterday. You know, people lying, they lie about anything. They can't tell you anything. Probably the only truth about them is their name. They lie all the time. It's saying things that don't exist. And partly also, by the way, people would do better if they did their job. Because if they attended the meetings they're supposed to attend, if they sought briefs from the people they're supposed to be briefed, they will be briefed effectively, instead of now going to embarrass themselves in that kind of manner where you say things that don't exist. And ask yourself the question, how do police officers, especially senior police officers who are managing the security sector, feel when they see their leader lying about them? I saw somebody saying that they have deployed, I don't know who, to collect views about how the complaints the police have, so that when they come to power, they will resolve those problems. You know, sometimes you can actually laugh if it wasn't a serious issue. Those fellows who are saying that, some of them have sat with them in the National Security Council. And my brother here can bear me out. They have never said one thing about the police, one, when we are in those meetings. They will only talk about the police if there is a tender. Now they are saying they are the ones who are going to provide solutions. They know nothing about the investments that we have made. They don't know the hospitals that we have built. When President Kenyatta took the oath of office in 2013, we didn't have the special training unit, which is the envy of everybody in Kanyonyo. And the hospital that we are built there, and the services we are providing, and the specialized training we are doing, and the capacity we are built there, so that we are able to police the entire of that region, and the equipment and the resources we have acquired. That's why we could arrest terrorists who escaped from Kamiti in a matter of 72 hours. They have no clue. We brought down the corruption in the procurement in the security sector to zero. Because in the past, air was being sold there, police didn't have boots. This man will tell you how the same people are making noise out there and telling us about how they're going to reform the police, who are supplying police bulletproof vests for $900 when in the factory they are costing $90, and so on and so forth. These mad people were the problem. They're claiming to be the solution now. If those budgets were managed differently in the past, we probably would be having 6 hospitals by now. If air was not being sold to police officers in the guise of procurement and so on, if lies were not being told about procurement for the police, we would have been ahead. I like what Fimal said, Kagua. Kagua. Before Kuchagua. Kagua. You know, this question that you asked me about the deep state, what is sometimes not frustrating but amusing about the way we live in our country, the way we play politics, is the incredible level of hypocrisy to which we go and the level of pettiness that we sometimes get to. Because just picture a situation where I am the Minister for Interior, I sit in the National Security Council, and I go out in public and complain about the Inspector General who sits with me in the National Security Council. Am I serious? You know this phrase about there being the deep state. First of all, understand the origin of this. This is language that began mainly from the communist socialist direction that created an impression that the state operated at 2 levels. The open, formal, known level understood by everybody, but the secret, informal level that is insidious, devilish, that is a dark operation that is intended to do evil and bad for everybody. I ask the question, in a country that doesn't have a single detainee, in a country where a presidential election has been nullified before, and the president and all its people have faithfully gone back to the election, you know what has happened with this election? And I said it in another meeting, that after the COVID-19 pandemic, now the new pandemic we are dealing with is the pandemic of lies. Yeah. It's the pandemic of lies. People stand up and they say things that they think make sense. I've been looking at politicians, and fortunately, I have the opportunity of having served in cabinet. I know how a budget is drawn, and I know how much money we have in our resources to draw a budget. When a political leader, a national leader tells people, I will put aside 150 billion for market women, I'll put aside 50 billion for boda boda, I'll put aside 100 billion for this. I know how much our budget is and the projected growth of our budget. That time you have not talked about the amount of money that you are taking to counties, you have not talked about transfers for the education sector and so on. Where are you going to get that money to provide that kind of service? You're just lying to those people because you are telling them things they want to hear. And because they won't ask you questions, you just get along with it. When you keep saying this deep state, who is that? And the people who are using that phrase and complaining are members of the National Security Council. They hold public offices. They tell you they are powerful people. So who is that? This facade and stories that are being coined and being bandied around, just so that people create excuses and they camouflage around things that don't exist to survive, or create excuses and pathways of lying and carrying the public along with them. I want to ask you as church ministers, I am your son, and as a public servant, we have a country to serve. Let us not be victims of some of these lies that you keep hearing around. But things that just don't make sense even to a fool. How will you tell people? Yeah. How will you stand up? I'm asking you. Bishop, how will you stand up in public and tell me, who is that? And then you don't even have the courage enough to take a decision and say, okay, because I don't agree with the Attorney General and all these people, I'm not going to be party to you. In the morning, you speak like government. In the afternoon, you speak like opposition. You see, the question, let's be honest. You see, the total annihilation of common sense and betrayal of common sense in the political practice in this country is shocking. When you tell people about there being who is that? What is that deep state? The Inspector General who seated here? We have passed a constitution that requires us, it's in black and white. Even me, if I have to give directions to the Inspector General, the law requires that I put it in writing. And since I became Minister for Interior, I told the nation the other day, I've written 2 such letters, one to Boynet and one to him, to provide policy guidance. And even before I send it, I asked the Attorney General, does it pass muster? The Attorney General says, under the law, you can't do this. So, stop here, let us proceed. Now, how can you turn around in a country of the amount of freedom that we have? Nairobi, for your record, Bishop, Nairobi houses the largest number of foreign correspondents and media houses on this continent. I've challenged people, if you don't think there's freedom in Nairobi, go and report from Addis. Yeah. With all this freedom we have, in a country where the president is insulted liberally by everybody, by opposition politicians, how will you tell me that there exists a covert, dark op element of government that is intended to do certain things? When did you last face and scrutinize and excoriate the Minister for Security? I am here to answer questions. Which is this dark side that exists? Where is it? Don't be drawn. I'm telling you, don't be drawn to some of this. You see, we are unfortunate that we have a brand of leaders. I told you earlier that the narrative we need to be discussing about the future of our country is how we handle corruption and how we create an integrity system of managing our country so that the resources God has given us can benefit our children and our children's children. Now, instead of having that conversation, the artists, the political artists who want to avoid that conversation, they come up with all manner of excuses. Oh, there are people who hate me called deep state, and you sit with them daily. So when do they become deep? When they are with you or when they are not with you? So, look, Forget about this. We run an open, transparent, accountable government